Hello, my beautiful human. Welcome to class. This is the money class, the last class of January's pose, hanumanasana. Before we get into the pose itself, let's talk about the agenda for the day. One, I'll show you my favorite breathing practice. It's all about the nervous system and getting it from fight or flight into rest and digest. Two, I'll show you one of my favorite restorative poses. We'll be meditating on some of the questions you saw on screen. And then three, we'll talk about how planning and using this year is going to help you with your abundance, the abundance that you seek. All of this was kind of sent through email. So if you're not on my email list, please go on my website, www.divsdoingthings.com, and subscribe. We'll be using The Richest Man in Babylon for our money text this year, really kind of diving deep into some of the lessons there because it's a super accessible read. And we'll also be using some of these maybe blocks, bolsters, and or pillows if you have at home for the restorative pose, I should say. But before we get into any of that, let's do 3 deep rounds of breath to open up class and to just get ourselves ready for what we're about to learn. Start to fill the lower belly, then the mid belly, then the chest. Open up the mouth, HA, let it go. 2 more rounds at your own pace. Lower belly, mid belly, chest. Maybe let the exhale be longer than the inhale. Last round. Thank you. This is a full voiceover class, so you can have your ears open instead of maybe your eyes. Not necessarily something that you'll need lots of visuals for, and it is super intentional. When dealing with money topics, you have to read a lot. It's not about getting entertained, and so that's the intention there. First things first, though. Let's learn Samavriti, breath of equal measure. Again, favorite pranayama practice. It really helps to reset the nervous system going from fight or flight into rest and digest. Saw me putting up some numbers. And so what you do is you inhale for 4 or any number that you choose, just has to be an equal amount of number. You hold at the top with a full belly, and then you exhale for that same amount of number. In this case, 4, and you hold at the bottom with an empty belly. So it would look like inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, exhale 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. Try that as many times as you need until you feel in your body that you are in a different state of being, maybe less active, a little bit more go with the flow vibes. I like to do this before I go to bed. Helps me to really get into sleep mode instead of life anxiety mode. That is part 1 of class. Let's transition over to part 2. Samavriti is done. Legs up the wall is next. So in Sanskrit, it's Viparita Karani. I probably am saying it with a super Latina accent, but you know that that's the vibes. This pose, legs up the wall, you get really close to the wall. You get your side hip all the way as close as you can to like the crease. And then you bring your legs up. And that's it, truly. You let your upper back kind of rest into the ground. And then you can use the blocks, the bolster, whatever you have to maybe lift up the hips in order to kind of get a different sensation and maybe settle into it a little bit more. We'll be here for 5 minutes. And some things to know about this pose, restorative pose, unlike yin in a way, and I kind of said this in the previous class, where yin, you're supposed to kind of like face the discomfort and work through it, breathe through it. But with restorative, it's all about embracing rest and using all of these props to help you rest. This calms the nervous system. This helps improve circulation. And this relieves stress and swelling in both the legs and the feet. If it feels okay for you, you can either kind of focus on your breathing and pause my speaking, or you can start to meditate on some of the questions that I sent over this week. specifically about money and specifically about your relationship to money. Question number 1, nice and easy. What is your relationship to money like? Do you feel like you have an anxious relationship, a worshiping relationship, a relationship out of necessity? Do you maybe run away from money? What is your relationship to money like? Question number 2, how do you feel about money? Like in the body, where do you physically feel it? Is there an area in particular? We won't talk about this today, but there's a lot to do with where you feel things, and especially that yin class that we did last week, and what that means about maybe the emotional state or maybe the imbalance that you might have in the body about money in particular in this case. 3, do you see money as a good thing? Do you see it as something evil? Do you maybe see it as somewhere in between? Where does money fall in the spectrum of your moral code, of how you look at your values and being out in the world? Number 4, what is your first memory of money? Is it with family? Is it society? Is it a friend? What is your first memory of money itself? Is it maybe school? Number 5, what was your first purchase? What did you spend your money on? I really love this question because I think it shows a lot of what we value just as humans, especially because a lot of us, not all of us, but probably if you're watching this money class, you want more money, you want more abundance. And if you want more, usually what you spend it on first kind of means a lot. So can you remember when that first money purchase that you made was? Number 6, how do you use money today? Is it similar to your first purchase? Has life kind of taken you somewhere else that now you use it in a different way, or you feel like it should only be used in certain ways? What is your exact usage of money? Can you visualize that? Number 7, do you know exactly, and that's an underline, how much money you make? Exactly, to the number, to the penny. And why? The why is maybe a little bit more of a deeper question, but maybe think that over. And then on the flip side, do you know how much you spend and why? Do you know how much you save and why? And lastly, number 8, what do you hope to get out of these money classes truly? What is your intention? Do you want more? Do you want to learn how to use what you already have? Do you want to buy a particular thing, do a particular thing, experience a particular thing? I want to reiterate that there is no right or wrong. Your individuality as a human is so worthy and so beautiful that this question is more so personal. Journal about it and think it through. I'll leave you with that for the rest of the pose. Maybe focusing on these questions does not work for you. Maybe you want to focus on the breath. Either way, like I said, there's no right or wrong. Do what works best for you for this first class. Outside my window, there are some beautiful birds, or the sound of the birds chirping is very beautiful. And I wish I could take my mic over there so that you could also have that for your meditation. That is 5 minutes in the pose. So start to wiggle your toes, bend your knees, bring your feet to the ground, and roll into fetal position. So use your arm as a pillow and just let your body settle into the ground after that. It was a lot, both kind of learning a new restorative pose, but mainly kind of going through those questions. Oftentimes, when I work with clients one on one, these questions bring up a lot in the physical body. So thank yourselves for showing up in this way. You are so worthy. I am so excited for you. This journey is a long one, I won't lie, but it is a beautiful one. It's a personal one. And thank yourself for showing up. I truly, truly, truly believe that is the absolute hardest part. Let's transition over to the third part of our class. The theme of this week's email was with planning, abundance is yours. And I'm a firm believer that if you don't know where you want to go, it's kind of really hard to get there. And in The Richest Man in Babylon, there's also a part of the book where he writes, preceding accomplishment must be desire. Thy desires must be strong and definite. General desires are but weak longings. For a man to wish to be rich is of little purpose. For a man to desire 5 pieces of gold is a tangible desire which he can press to fulfillment. And that isn't actually the quote that you see on screen. I'm going to read that shortly, but kind of gives us a guide as to why planning is so important. And we'll take the steps necessary to plan effectively. That's what I'm here for. That's what these money classes are for. That's what I want to help you with. Planning looks different to everyone, and that's okay. And so this week is more about respecting yourself. Let me read the quote. A man must do such things to respect himself. 1, he must pay his debts with all the promptness within his power, not purchasing that for which he is unable to pay. 2, he must take care of his family, that they may think and speak well of him. 3, he must make a will of record that, in case the gods call him, proper and honorable division of his property be accomplished. 4, he must have compassion upon those who are injured and smitten by misfortune, and aid them within reasonable limits. He must do deeds of thoughtfulness to those dear to him. I see, or you should see on the side of the book that there are the yamas and the niyamas there. We'll focus on those next month when it comes to the meditation. Super important to kind of walk through them. But the yamas and niyamas are the limbs of yoga that help us respect ourselves. They help us know what it means to live a life of honor that we ourselves respect, not other humans, we ourselves. Not other humans, we ourselves. And in my humble opinion, respecting yourself has a lot to do with keeping the promises that you make to yourself. And so that brings me to point number 2. Know yourself. It is through knowing yourself that you will be able to create rules that align to who you are. Truly, I believe that your individuality is perfect, but first you have to find that individuality. I put mission, vision, values on screen because that's what I work with my clients on, creating their own personal mission, vision, values. That's what I've done for myself. It took me about 10 years to do this. Again, that's why planning is important. That's why time is super important. But that's what we'll work on together. As we move forward in these money classes, I want you to have your own mission, vision, values. My vision comes from the Gita, which is why we're using the Gita as our guide for our quotes of the month. All mankind is born for perfection, and each shall attain it will he but follow his nature's duty. I learned mission, vision, values in business school, literally class 1, Management 100 at Wharton, and it's taken me all throughout my career. My vision now is part of a spiritual text. My mission is to empower humans to dream and do. And my values are family, freedom, passion, integrity. And you see on screen that I put number 3, make a plan. I kind of already talked about this, but with proper knowledge, that's what I'm providing you with, the knowledge that you will then be able to make a plan that will help you on your own journey. This is individualized. This is personal. This is not about divs. This is not about your best friend. This is not about your mom. This is Who are you? What do you decide to be? Who do you decide to be? And then using that to keep the promises that you make to yourself based off of that in order to then accomplish your dreams. It's all full circle. And so you go back to respecting yourself, and you'll see that on screen again because it's a full cycle of once you know yourself, you'll be able to make decisions that align to that, which will then help you respect yourself. But you kind of have to respect yourself first in order to then believe that you are worthy of creating a mission, vision, value, believing that you're worthy of perfection or that you are perfectly made without anything else. And so it is a long journey that we'll go on. It requires lots of self awareness, lots of self love, and a little bit of fun along the way. So, again, number one, respect yourself. Number two, know yourself. Number three, make a plan. That's what we'll be doing together for the rest of 2026 using both yoga philosophy, focusing on yamas and niyamas next month, and then business pedagogy, focusing on the richest man in Babylon and beyond. I love you so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.